Booster Gold shows up. It's a guest appearance by Booster Gold.
Oh, nice. We haven't seen him in a little bit.
And it's pretty good. He comes back in his time ship, and he goes to the Watchtower because he knows what Clark has done, and he knows that if Clark touches even anything or talks to anybody or anybody even sees him, it could change the entire timeline of the DC universe. So Booster Gold goes to investigating the cosmic treadmill, and Flash comes in and catches him and starts kicking the shit out of him and telling him to get away from the cosmic treadmill and asking him why he's there and all that. Eventually he subdues Flash, and he takes the cosmic treadmill with him because it has the coordinates of exactly where Superman went. And he gets in his own time ship, and then he travels there, and he tries to catch Clark and get him out of there before anybody sees him. And I don't know why this is, for some reason, Superman, when he gets to Krypton, forgets that he's under a red sun, and as soon as he gets there, he's powerless.
Yeah.
So he gets there, and Booster Gold shows up, and they get spotted by the Kryptonian guard. And Superman braces himself to get ready for the super battle and realizes he's just a normal human guy now and can't do shit. So now it's up to Booster Gold to get him out of it. And if I remember right, that's where it cuts off. The cliffhanger is how they're going to get out of this. But it's pretty good. It's I like the way all of these books are starting to tie in to Doomsday Clock or Metal, or and in some cases there's little hints that it could be both. This could be all under one Rebirth umbrella, and it's all going to come together. But anybody in the Doomsday Clock for sure needs to read Action right now, because this is touching on who messed with the timeline to begin with. And as we talked about last time, Mr. Oz could be Ozymandias from The Watchmen, for all we know. But it's getting really interesting. I'm finding it real hard to not recommend any of these Rebirth books to people, because all the ones I'm reading seem really important to what's going on.
Right.
But action really good this month.
So my first one, I read Red Hood and the Outlaws this week, and it's a continuation. So Red Hood and the Outlaws have been doing a crossover with Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
For just a couple issues, and basically this one, the Suicide Squad and the Outlaws, they're going to this base that was formerly of Nowhere and Harvest, the character Harvest.
Oh, so I'm not reading this. Is this still Red Hood, Bizarro, and
yes. Artemis?
Okay.
Yes.
Artemis. All right.
So they're with the Suicide Squad, and nothing really in this issue is more of like talking. There's not really any action. It's more interaction with the squad and the different members. At one point,
like a setup issue.
Actually, this is the final issue of their team up. So basically, what it was they go to the base of Nowhere of Harvest, because this base is gonna blow up unless they can disable it, and it could destroy the Earth. And they get in there. Bizarro, of course, is Smart Bizarro, and he breaks them all up in the teams. So Red Hood goes with Killer Croc, Artemis is with Harley Quinn, and Bizarro is with Boomerang and Deadshot. So you get interactions with all these characters. Like Jason Todd and Croc, they're basically, Todd's asking, has he seen Arsenal lately? How's Arsenal been? Croc,
all right, because he got him off the drugs.
Yeah, and Croc is almost being like a father mentor to Jason Todd in this issue, because he's kind of like, you're a good guy, but you try to act like a bad guy. You try to be like this badass dude. It's not gonna do you any favors in the long run.
Well, jumping back, that was one of my favorite things of when Arsenal was getting off, and they showed that when he talked about that flashback of how he met Killer Croc in the sewer, and he got him off the shit and got him straight again, which was surprising. That's a different side of Killer Croc you don't see hardly ever.
There is a funny line in there where it's Croc. They're walking through like the underground of this place. It's almost like a sewer, and Croc's like, "Sewers. No matter where I go, I'm in the sewers. If the Suicide Squad went to frickin' space, I'd end up in a frickin' space sewer." So that was fun. There was a interaction between Harley Quinn and Artemis, which I mean, here's my problem about this whole thing is you've got Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad, but then you have the standalone Harley Quinn title by Connor and Palmiotti.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure because I stopped reading the standalone Harley Quinn book when they had like the. I stopped reading it during when there was an issue where there was a guy that was basically Popeye. I mean, basically he was Popeye, and she was.
I think I know what it is though. I think I figured it out because if you read recently, we got in the box a few weeks ago. We got the Batman White Knight book.
Yeah, where there's different Harleys.
Yeah, there was two Harley Quinns in that, so
Yeah.
that could explain that.
That could explain because this Harley, she still talks about she's got the implant in her head that Amanda Waller could just, boom, blow her up at any moment. And then Boomerang and Deadshot disable the machine. And then I guess there's like this magic doorway that they were able to get to this base through. And the Suicide Squad goes back to Belle Reve, and as the Outlaws are about to go in there, Amanda Waller shuts the door on them and says, "One day you will be arrested, you will be tried, and you will be mine permanently. I don't have to make deals with you, but you're not coming back with me."
No, that's what I always love about Batman's relationship to Waller, because she kind of likes Batman, but you can tell Amanda Waller is terrified of Batman. He's the one guy that she doesn't scare him and doesn't get under his skin, and he scares the shit out of her.
So, a slow issue. They're starting a new story arc in Outlaws next issue. So it was a slow issue. It wasn't what I normally like in the Outlaws books. I usually like them fighting in the underground, the mob bosses, things like that.
I don't like big dialogue issues
and
either.
I'm really not digging I don't like the smart Bizarro. I liked it better when he was like the muscle of the group. So we'll see what happens next because the final panel is Bizarro and he's standing on, it almost looked like a crag, and there was this green glow to it. So I'm not sure if he's standing in front of a Lazarus pit or what he's standing in front of. So we'll
that seems more logical since green kryptonite doesn't affect him. So I don't think it would be green kryptonite.
Well, it was something where that's the other thing is it might be green kryptonite because when they were going in there, he mentioned that Boomerang and Deadshot had to destroy the machine because it had kryptonite in it, and he couldn't be around it because it would kill him. But if Bizarro... Now, this is a clone Bizarro. This isn't Bizarro from back in the day, so I'm not...
That's so weird if he's a clone Bizarro. That's weird that... It's because blue kryptonite traditionally killed Bizarro.
Well, remember, this is the Bizarro that was created by Lex Luthor.
I think all Bizarros were created by Lex Luthor, and then they were clones of Lois Lane and Superman.
Like that. So we'll see. We'll see. So your next book was...
My next book was Detective, which I kind of did the big three this week.
Yeah.
I did Flash too, but Detective, which is also still in the aftermath of Mr. Oz, because Detective in Action crossed over a little bit with Mr. Oz, with Tim Drake being imprisoned in that weird space prison with the future Tim Drake Batman.
Right.
We're dealing with the aftermath. Something is wrong with Tim Drake. He's since he's been back, he's been working nonstop on this citywide initiative he wants to condense Oracle into the Belfry and have Barbara come and condense like the Oracle system into the Belfry and just have one central place where the team operates out of. And it's like he's so worried about his future, and he so doesn't want to become Batman. He's become obsessed with it, and he hasn't left it alone. And it's pissing Stephanie Brown off. Spoiler. And she's been kind of bouncing back and forth between this Anarchy guy, or I think it's Anarchy, who runs this other, who's trying to kind of do the same thing as Tim Drake, but he's more of a megalomaniac kind of a character, and he has this whole base underground and stuff, but he's in prison. But she gets fed up with Tim Drake, and she goes to talk to him in prison, and he tries to convince her again to join him and to forget Tim Drake and all this, and she ends up walking out angry out of the prison. But it's also going on, while Tim Drake is just obsessed with getting this new system in place in Gotham so that they have this team so that he can retire and go to college and marry Stephanie Brown and have a normal life. While all that's going on, there's a doctor that's trying to cure Clayface of his Clayface affliction. And recently, Clayface, he's starting to lose himself. Like he's starting to lose the basil of himself in the Clayface, and he's becoming more monstrous. And he's like desperately trying to cure himself before he goes full monster and destructive and everything. Because he already, like in a couple issues back, he flipped out real bad and he injured the doctor in the lab because he got frustrated because the cure wasn't going the way he wanted and everything. But it comes down to Clayface goes, because a long time ago, Clayface had apparently hurt this woman and distorted her face all up with that chemical and made her like really deformed, and she went like psycho insane or something, and she's like in an institution now. Well, Clayface goes in his human disguise to talk to her and tell her that we've finally got this cure. We can cure both of us, and you can go on and live your normal life. And I'm doing this for you because I ruined your life and you're stuck in here. We can cure you and get you out of this facility. And it turns out she double crossed him, and she's working for somebody else, and they capture Clayface at the end. So that's kind of left a little bit on a cliffhanger. What's going to happen to Clayface? What the hell's going on with Tim Drake? Batman. Lately, the last couple issues, Batman was in a few issues back, and when they did when the future Batman came back, Tim Drake Batman came back. Batman was the whole family was in that. Last couple issues, Batman's been a little scarce. He appears in a couple pages here and there, but mainly the main storyline now is what's going on with Tim Drake and what's Stephanie Brown going to do with this Anarchy guy, and Clayface is now captured by some syndicate. So we're waiting next month to see what happens to Clayface.
So the other one I read, and this is where it gets really rough for me at points. So and you know this, I thoroughly enjoyed the New 52 Supergirl title. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I actually liked it. I didn't read it, but I liked her in the other, like in Superman and in action, whenever she would appear. I liked her because she was a defiant Supergirl, and she refused to learn human language.
Yeah. So
she said, "These people are ants. I won't learn this language."
I loved her costume in the New 52. I loved her attitude in the New 52, and they had some good storylines. It's just that.
Oh, I like the Hell storyline where she betrayed Clark. She went with Hell.
That was really good. And the problem though was in the New 52, it seemed like anytime Superman was doing a story arc that would cross over, they would cut Supergirl's. It almost seemed like they would cut Supergirl's stories really short to have her go do these things with Superman.
That's like she's a second tier character that they don't want to give her too much because they might need to use her for something else.
Well, in the Rebirth, and I totally blame the TV show for this, because in Rebirth they made her more like the TV show Supergirl. She worked for Cat Grant. She went back to the skirt, Gone was the really cool costume they gave her New 52, and she went back to the skirt and and all that type of stuff.
Well, do we know that this is the same New 52 Supergirl, or is this some kind of weird time change? Same girl?
It's the same, because they've done it where they've talked about it. So after the events of the Cyborg Superman coming down, and footage getting out that the Cyborg Superman, who was shown to be Zor-El, her father.
Yeah, that's the one, the Cyborg Superman story way back, right? In the New 52. Okay.
Yeah,
because he came back, and she showed up. I didn't know if that crossed over in that comic or not.
Yeah, he came back in her book, in the Rebirth book. So, they show that she had him in stasis, and she was like, "I'm going to find some way to help you." I mean, it's her father, but everybody sees that she kept it a secret from everybody, and she's a terrorist and all this other stuff. So she has basically come, persona non grata, and her adoptive family was working for the DEO, the Department of Extra Normal Operations. Well, this character.
How did she get him in stasis? He like a couple of months ago, there was an arc in Superman where Zod, Cyborg Superman, the Eradicator, and who else? There was another guy came. I can't remember. Metallo, I think. had all banded together to get into the Fortress of Solitude, and the whole Super family showed up, and Supergirl was there. So I'm wondering if maybe she captured him and put him in stasis from that arc.